still have to actively manage that. They still have to look at it and say, is this a good return or is it not, right? They've outsourced lots of that work to you.
But that's any kind of investment. You have to look 100%. At your portfolio. What, am I investing in gold? Am I investing in stocks, bonds, Bitcoin, whatever? There's still that job of managing your portfolio.
Unless, see, and this is where I think we'll differ. Bitcoin isn't an investment. Bitcoin's a savings tool. If you believe in the ethos of what you think sound money should be, right? Houses are not sound money.
So there's never a time. I actually didn't want to like chat with you today just about like Bitcoin. That's probably your life. Everywhere is like, Adam, the Bitcoin guy, come talk about Bitcoin. And then you have to explain the same thing over and over and over, like, and dumb it down every time you speak about it. So
dumb it down. Make it simple is different than dumbing it down. But yeah, I mean, you're right.
Yeah. So I actually want to do something a little bit different. And the idea of chatting with you, like, it's just nice to see you, see your face, see your nice beard.
Yeah, it's growing.
I'm trying to keep up.
You know, it's funny. You're called Cleancut, but you look quite disheveled over there.
I know. It's kind of like a play. It's like, yeah, just trying to do something different. Today, my daughter this morning, she's like, Daddy, you need to shave your beard. I'm like, why? Does it look bad? No, I like how it looks, but it tickles me too much. So she says, can you just shave right here and keep the sides? I was like,
the reverse goatee. That'd be nice.
This is a new thing.
That's awesome.
Anyways, yeah, you have a great beard. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
The thing I wanted to talk to you about today is, a bit about Bitcoin, but I think that you just have like a different outlook on life. Like, you aren't just like the typical, I don't know, consumer investor out there. I think you look at things differently, and I really respect that about you. And we are similar in some ways, but like totally different. Like, I'm in the real estate space because of like, in my mind, security and like that I own like a hard asset and I have control over that and that it's an appreciating asset and all the fun that can come with that, and that I could do renovations and force appreciation, whatever else. And that's just like a total old school mentality, I think. And then you come from the other side where you're throwing ideas at me. Like on Instagram, you'll message me like, hey, buy my house. I want to rent. I'm thinking like, this guy's like so successful, has so much money. He can go buy whatever he wants. And it's like the Elon Musk take on life where they're like, so do you have like some interviews like, so do you have like the coolest house with the whatever Iron Man like helicopter coming up? And he's like, I did, but like got bored of it, or like I sold it. I just live in like a tiny house now.
Wasn't needed. Yeah.
Or like Grant Cardone out there is saying like, don't own the house that you live in, just rent. So they're kind of throwing out these different ideas. And I think you align with some of those.
Big time.
So I'm going to go back to kind of the start of knowing you. So we went to the same high school, and I just knew Adam as like friendly Adam that just is like always has a smile on his face and like just happy to be
around.
Alive.
Yeah, I'm above ground. It's a good day.
Yeah, just doing stuff. It's like, do you play volleyball? Like, are you a sports guy? Sure.
Yeah,
like,
let's go.
Yeah, I'll join the team. Do you, I don't know, like, do you skateboard? Yeah, why not? Like, I'll go buy one and, like, figure it out. So it's just, yeah, everyone got along with Adam and a happy guy. And then graduating, you kind of went into, like, bartending, serving, managing restaurants. And again, it was just like, there's Adam.
Smile on his face.
Yeah, doing his thing.
Working hard, seeing what happens.
Life is good. And then I was like starting to, I don't know, trying to find a real job or like start grinding away or become a man or whatever I thought.
Yeah, whatever you got to do when you're like 22 or whatever.
I was landscaping. I was like working at my dad's potato farm. And then I'm kind of following you on whatever, Facebook, or see you here and there. And it's like, Adam's into technology now. He's like going into, you were going into spaces that were cool before they were cool.
Yeah.
Like you're an OG hipster in a way, but like not trying to be.
No, I've always been like attracted to, things that interest me. Like I had a little drone store. Yeah. And like the premise was like
Drone Zone, baby.
The Drone Zone, that's right. The premise was like have a bunch of drones for sale, fix them, And off we go. And then Best Buy is like, we do drones now. And I was like, oh, well,
There it goes.
My little 500 square foot store in Sherwood Park's not going to compete very well with Best Buy.
But you are like a entrepreneur at heart. Like, that is what drives you. And there's like this money aspect about growing a business and whatever. But at the same time, it almost seems like you don't really care. You're doing something because it's cool, like just because you believe in it or can have fun with it. And that was, the technology space. So then you're running different businesses and in the technology world. And then in like 2013, you're like buying Bitcoin. And I'm like, oh, another like weird nerd thing, but that's cool.
What a
like,
freak.
Good for you. So you bought it you're buying it what, like $10 at the time or something?
Well, the lowest I've ever bought Bitcoin was I think $80, but $100 was kind of my my entry point. So I watched it crash from 100 to like 80. And then I was like, oh, this is weird. And then it went to 1,000 and then crashed again to like 200. And so, yeah, that's kind of when my journey started, was in that era of Bitcoin.
Right. So you've kind of seen the doomsday. Like right now, we're going through a time where people don't know where to invest their money. And like people were raving about the stock market. People were getting into Bitcoin, which they never were before. Then there's, COVID happens and people think like real estate market's going to zero and don't invest. And then the real estate market takes off and we're getting like calls left, right, and center. People are buying stuff sight unseen, like $100,000 off over a list price. And then now again, the government is stepping in to say, like we're printing too much money or like inflation's got out of hand. We need to fix this. And they're kind of causing these issues and then trying to fix them. And it's going back and forth and people just don't know what to do anymore. But what I have to say is that through this all, I was kind of on the sidelines watching Adam go, get into Bitcoin and into these different spaces. And I was kind of on the sidelines watching, but not really like understanding it or taking too much of like I was just happy to watch what you were doing and you were just you were happy to just go into these spaces thriving in the chaos. Yes. And not knowing certain outcomes of how the drone space, where's that going to go, and where's the like you're vlogging before like people were doing that, and then in the Bitcoin world, and then I connected with you, or I saw you at like a Super Bowl party or something. I remember this clearly. I don't know if you remember this.
No.
But I walked in. I hadn't seen you for a while, but I followed some of your stuff online, and then I was like, "Hey, Adam, are you still working for Bitcoin?"
Yeah. And I was like,
"Do you remember that?"
Yeah. I was like, "Do you work for a potato?"
That's the exact answer that I
remember that now.
Remember.
Yeah.
And that just showed like how naive I was to this space.
Right.
Because I was working like at my dad's potato farm. Like, well, do you work for potato? And everyone's like, ha ha, like idiot.
Yeah, probably to me more than to you.
No way. It was, well, yeah. I don't know.
Bitcoin. What was that? That was probably 2016. I don't think it was like it was well before Bitcoin had hit like Bitcoin really hit mainstream in 2017, I would say, and then like mainstream in 2020.
Yeah,
but like
no. So it's like, so what year did you start? So anyways, Adam was into the crypto space, Bitcoin world. Then you bought the first Bitcoin ATM in Alberta, right?
Yeah, first one in Alberta.
Got that set up. I saw, like at Remedy Cafe or something like that. And I still didn't understand it, but I was like, oh yeah, Adam does that. It's cool.
That guy smiles all the time.
Yeah, it sounds fun. I'm not going to buy it. Eventually you talked me into buying it after like hit $10,000 or something. But through that, you've just kind of had a smile on your face. Bitcoin's going up and down. Some people are like, you're amazing, and like kissing your feet. And some people are like, you're an idiot.
Yep.
And you just kind of went through it. You don't care. Like a total true believer in the space, growing the space and bringing awareness, a strong voice in Edmonton here. And then, you just like this company just exploded. And now you have like hundreds of ATMs all over, Bitcoin ATMs all over. Your company is now publicly traded, and and then now I'm thinking like, okay, I'm sitting with this like big name guy, but it's still like Adam from high school.
Man. Just Adam.
So I guess how do you stay so calm through that? Because I remember buying that one Bitcoin off of you at 10 grand, thinking like, I'm insane. And you text me, you're like, welcome to the fun world of Bitcoin or something like that. And then it was really fun when it was going up. And then when it was down, I was like sweating, and I was getting like addicted to looking at the ticker, seeing it like go up and down.
That's everyone's first mistake, is they put some kind of ticker on their phone and they watch the price of Bitcoin by the hour. And that's like the price of Bitcoin. Like, imagine if somebody bought a house and you could track in real time the market of that house across the world. That would be catastrophic, right? It'd be full of red right now. Every time in advance of a Fed announcement, it'd be red and then green, then red and then green, then red and then green. But over the course of 5, 6, 10, 15 years, it's a steady trek up and to the right. And like the difference is Bitcoin is so liquid, so easy to track, so easy to put a market on that you can track the ups and downs in real time. But I think still this is true, and it might not be true soon, but over a 36-month window, nobody who has owned Bitcoin for 36 months is in the red, which is like pretty insane. And unlike, I think, any other asset.
If you hold it.
Yeah, of course.
But then people are getting addicted to, just like I was. It was like, oh, well, I can buy some of this and do a little of that. Yeah. And Dogecoin's going up and this one's going down and then this one's going to fork. And then you get caught up in this. I think I warned you
about that, didn't I?
Probably not enough. Like you didn't give me...
Somehow that's my problem.
Enough warning. Hey, I'm not blaming you.
I know.
I've had a good experience through it all, and there's been a lot of learning. I think greed is like a real thing through it all. Understanding the space is a big thing through it all. But my question is through the years you've been in this, you've been doing the Bitcoin, you've been in the Bitcoin game for like almost a decade now, right? Yeah. How have you always just been able to have a smile on your face, stay positive, and keep like plunking away at it? I guess that's where your success comes from. But how do you do that?
Yeah, it's a bit of my personality, I think, already. And that gets you into trouble sometimes too. But I think at the end of the day, to understand what Bitcoin is, you have to understand why, right? The why is so important. Simon Sinek harps on this, and I think he does a lot of repetition, and Simon Sinek's good for what he does. But anyways, his communication around the why being so important really holds true to me. And I truly believe, and I think it's factually verifiable, that Bitcoin is just a better place to store your value. And I believe that because I believe in free market economics. I believe that money has to pertain to some kind of value on the backside. I believe that money shouldn't have borders, artificial borders. Like, why is our money different than down south, right? Why can't I drive for 10 hours and have the same money? Why is it a completely different monetary system? Why can't I get on a plane and use that same money? Is their time different than mine, right? No. Well, I mean, functionally, it's a different time of day. The sun is in a different position. So yeah, good point. But really, why are we storing our time in different units? It seems silly when you think about the fact that we give our money to someone to keep it safe, and then that person, in the name of safekeeping, lends it out to other people to do other things. So what? We're trusting that they don't lend it to the wrong person? What is the success versus failure rates on debt to a bank, right? When you start to understand, so when you learn about Bitcoin, you're learning about all these things, and then Bitcoin just becomes the obvious alternative to where we're currently at, which is a manipulated dollar issued by an underwater Fed with no real line of sight out of this tumultuous economy that we're currently in. Go figure. You triple the supply of money and the value of money decreases. Obviously, what would happen if there was just overnight 3 times more houses in Edmonton? What would happen to the price? We understand this stuff when we talk about housing, when we talk about cars. There was limited supply of cars on the market. So price of car increased because of supply and demand economics. Very, very basic. My son, him and I are playing Hungry Hippo, and he understands that the yellow ball, while it has no more value in our game, he wants the yellow ball because it's scarce. As a young child, we understand scarcity, but we fail to apply it to our money. And it's all traceable. You can see it on the government websites. You can track the M0 money supply, how much money is actually in circulation in Canada at any given time. It's literally tripled in the last 2 years. So why do we think inflation is happening? it's pretty apparent to me why that's happening. And when you think about Bitcoin and it having the inverse, right? It's not controlled by one single entity. It's decentralized. That's what we want in our money. When you think about what do you want your money to be? You want it to be scarce. You want it to have authenticity. You want to be able to transfer it. You want it to be divisible. There's these different properties that are rooted in sound money, and Bitcoin captures all of them. It's beautiful. And I just, as you can tell, I firmly believe that. I can back it up with like math and words. And I'm not thinking about Bitcoin as like a quick flip in 2023. I'm thinking about it like, oh, my great grandkids will benefit from me buying Bitcoin. Like that's the mindset. Is my time preference is so low. I want to stretch my value out so long that I want, when I think about what do I want to leave my great grandkids, like I have no confidence that the stock market will be the same, that the housing market will be the same. Like what's a house going to be in 2090? Like, is it going to be white with square walls? Will it be rounded like on the Jetsons? Will it be just a glass bulb like in, these postmodern films? Like we have no idea what it's going to look like. And so the only thing that I have certainty of is that math will still be important. Encryption will still be valid, and a unit of money has to be backed by the work of an individual. And Bitcoin captures those three simplistic properties unlike anything else in the world. And that's my best bet on having value moving into the future.
Well, and the idea is actually like there's actually a good correlation between real estate, what I'm investing in, and or mainly investing in, and Bitcoin, like you said, of like the scarcity, there's only a certain amount,
right?
And you can't create more. So like you said, if we just tripled the supply of houses, that's one thing. But the one thing that you have to understand when you're investing in real estate is you're not investing in the house.
No.
You're investing in the land.
But the problem with the land is that the government can take the land at any time.
Yes.
And that's where you're exposed. You aren't fully sovereign, right? You control the house. You control how the house looks. You can put a fence on the land. You can put a house on the land, a fourplex on the land.
Yeah.
But you're still playing inside the government's box. Mm-hmm. And the government has a history of changing the rules. And like in this, like gold was a really good representation for value in the 70s or in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. And then in the 70s, the government said, by the way, you aren't allowed to own gold anymore. Snap, overnight. Gold is now illegal to own.
Yeah.
Gone. So what happens when the government says land is now illegal to own? You're going to pick up your plot of land and walk away with it? You're going to move it to a different country?
Yeah.
Not going to happen, right? And that's where the sovereignty angle comes in, where you don't really own the land. You own the rights to the land until the government says you don't have the ability to do so anymore.
Right. Well, and I guess the government's trying to do things like that and stick their hands in there and like you can't own Bitcoin and it's illegal and blah, blah, blah. And they just haven't really proven to make it happen. But then the emotion takes over. Like Bitcoin would be perfect if we were all robots and there's no emotion. But the emotion, like the scary part, I guess, for a lot of people, or my opinion of it, is that people want something stable as well.
That's such an interesting comment, because I would argue that the Canadian dollar is one of the least stable currencies on planet Earth.
Oh, I agree, but you're not going to see the Canadian dollar jump and dip like cryptocurrencies are. Or Bitcoin is now, but is that just because there's not enough like firm believers? There's not enough adoption yet?
That's pretty fair criticism, I would say. I would say though that over a 10-year period, you are guaranteed, if you're like, and people know this, no one's leaving their money in money for a 10-year period, right? Mm-hmm. Like their money in fiat. Like over a 10-year period, your fiat currency is guaranteed to lose value. Guaranteed. Like it is 100%
guaranteed to lose value?
Or to lose value, sorry. Yeah. So if you have a $100 bill in 2022, in 2032, that $100 bill will have the purchasing power of like $30. Like it's quite astronomical how much value it's losing on a year-over-year basis.
Yeah.
Real estate historically has been better than that, right? Lots better than that in some periods than others.
Because of the scarcity, but then...
scarcity, market manipulation,
but now there's
interest
market
rates.
manipulation,
Like there's all kinds of market tricks. I have this, call it a hot take, call it whatever, that we're all hunting for this non-volatile unit of account. But in reality, Earth and life is just volatile. And if money, the true value of money is that it's supposed to represent your time, right? People who are more successful or have more money oftentimes are better or do more valuable things with their time than other people. If you were like to just really, really rudely sum up success in 3 seconds. That's how I would sum up success, that your time is valuable.
Yep.
And so when you think about money being a representation of your valuable time, you need it to be on a longer look. And there is just volatility in our time, right? The world being a volatile place, like look at, it's minus 40 outside, right?
Yeah.
Like there are volatile weather patterns. I could have the most important meeting. I could be driving to a $1 billion investor meeting. And then I get a phone call. Hey, your daughter was in a car crash. You're at the hospital. See ya. I'm gone. Like that investor meeting does not matter anymore. I would have skipped lunch. I would have skipped most other meetings. This podcast, see you later. If I'm going to
lunch,
for sure. Maybe not 2 lunches, but for sure at least 1. Yeah. But like I get a phone call that my family's in danger. Yeah. And all of a sudden that time is no longer needed. So we already have this volatile life. Why are we so hell-bent on our money not being a representation of our time, which is volatile? And so the government's taken that emotion into play quite well. Like, we will give you a very stable dollar, but they haven't, right? Look at the price of gas. Look at the price of an apple, the price of a house, the price of Crocs. Like when Crocs first came out, shout out Crocs, man. I doxed you.
Expose that.
When Crocs came out, they were $20. What? Those are like $80 now.
Well,
like,
these are the fleece lined ones.
Dude, those are $100 Crocs.
Well, hopefully one day.
But like, you know what I mean? Like everything is volatile, including our Canadian dollars. But the difference is people see $1 equals $1. They don't associate money with being what they can buy. They associate money with how much money is in my bank account. And that's the difference, is that 1 Bitcoin equals 1 Bitcoin the same way. The price of Bitcoin goes up or down, I still have 1 Bitcoin in my wallet. Who cares, right? That's like, people look at me like I say that and they're like, you're crazy. But that's the reaction they're having. Well, my bank account has 10 grand in it, so who cares? What inflation? Well, what does that 10 grand buy you versus what is that 1 Bitcoin value? Or one Bitcoin buy you?
Well, and I think people are doing so many transactions during the day for like little things. We're buying so many things now. Like we are just pure consumers now. It's crazy how much money we spend and how many transactions happen in a day. And like,
but in your habits, you can actually see inflation happening. Like I get a bagel and a steep tea at Tim Hortons like probably 3 or 4 times a week. Like it's on my route. I stop. Yeah. I get my bagel and a steep tea. And when I started doing that, it was $1.50. That's like 2 years ago now, kind of when I started going to the office like full time.
Now it's $94.87.
Not quite, but now it's $2.07. Like
so people are like, whatever, it's $1.
It's $1. Who cares?
But actually,
it's 50%.
That's a big deal.
It's a big deal, right? Yeah. At scale, like over the course. So my morning routine, instead of costing me $300 per year, now costs me $500 per year. Like when you expand things out over the course of a lifetime, your purchasing power is diminishing. And yes, Bitcoin, and I will say it, I'll be the first one to say it, Bitcoin is a bad place to store short-term value. I think you'd say the same about houses. If I had 100 grand and I was like...
Depends. And just like Bitcoin depends. Market's going up, you buy, you sell, you make your 10 grand.
Markets always come down. Like you can't respond to, if I had 100 grand...
But it's like day trading. It's like day trading, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I'm going to go into the stock market just for the long haul. It's like, well, no, some people don't do that. Some people are day trading. And then that's where like people go insane and like get addicted and it's just gambling. You might as well go to the Argyle casino in my mind.
100%.
Right?
100%. And I call the crypto, like the Dogecoin stuff you're referencing, that is the crypto casino without question. That's like, it is pure degenerate gambling in its purest unregulated form. Yeah. But I don't think long-term Bitcoin holdings should be viewed that same lens. I think that it's not a good place to put short-term value.
No, it's a long-term storage value and hold an investment that should go up over time. And I think, like I was saying, the day-to-day transactions, people are expecting like that's what they want Bitcoin to be. And I just don't know. Like I think maybe they'll get something that makes that work. But at this time, it's not like we're buying gold and then like exchanging pieces of gold where we go for smaller transit.
Like that was what money was at one point in time.
And it just didn't really work because now everything's moving too quickly. So I think we always need like $1 or something to reference back to for buying and selling. And then we're going to see like, inflation and it drop back down and things changing and the volatility in there. But I think Bitcoin can be a nice diversification or replacement for something like some kind of stock or real estate or gold. Like I think gold is a something relatable that you could hold it long term with. But then why, like back in the day, why when they decided, oh, gold is what we use now, or like it holds value and there's only so much gold on the planet, why wasn't everyone being like, yeah, like jumping on that bandwagon, and then, oh no, I'm not sure if it is, and then like selling all their gold and then like deciding if gold's good or bad? Because that's how it feels like with Bitcoin,
Well,
where one day people are like, oh, there's only 21 million, like get it while you can, there's only this many millionaires in the world, and then it's like, oh no, Bitcoin's fake, I'll sell it all, and then, oh, it's good and bad. Maybe there were times like that with gold, but
I don't think with gold. I think gold always had this fallacy of having intrinsic value.
Why?
Because you can use it for things it's not real. There's actually,
it's the same thing as Bitcoin.
So the value prop of gold is the same. People try to back it up. There's this guy that I debate all the time on the radio, named Handy Andy, and he's like, well, I can use gold. There's gold in my iPhone, so it's valuable. And did you know that 7% of the total world gold supply is what is used in electronics? So like, gold has an intrinsic value of 7% of its market cap, is what that deduces into. So like, no, that's just not the reason.
You just have like debates on the radio all the time? How have I not heard of this?
No, it's on a Vancouver radio station. It's awesome.
Oh, that is cool.
This guy, he's like got me in his phone book.
Handy
I'm like the crazy. Yeah, Handy Andy. He
is he just insane?
No, he's a wicked dude.
He's handy.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never used him for handiwork.
Is he a handyman?
I don't think so. I think he's a tech guy. He's like Handy Andy Tech or something. Someone I'm sure could like look him up.
Oh, he's a tech guy that like does not believe in Bitcoin.
Yeah, exactly. He believes in but he's got a good logical argument until that last mile where it's like, well, gold is useful. And then you ask him why. And then it just like crumbles down. Well, I can use it in my iPhone. Like, really? Like, if you had a bar of gold, would you be like, yes, I can make a lot of iPhones now. Like,
I'm going to make a sick chain.
Exactly. Like, I can wear it around my neck. And I go like, dude, you can wear a bunch of dandelions around your neck if you want to. It doesn't make it valuable. Like, and so I don't think that gold and Bitcoin are the same, only because of so what you just said. Our money used to be backed by gold, right? Up until like our lifetime, well, maybe a little bit past even my lifetime, but like our parents remember a time when the dollar was backed by gold. And that's interesting. So, because you're right, gold is tough. Like, what are you going to do? Go to buy an apple and shave off some shillings and like sprinkle it onto a scale and then give there's dust involved and like imperfections and impurities. It doesn't work. So the government said, okay, let's take a dollar bill, trace it back to that ounce of gold, and voila, now they're all equals, and you have pennies and nickels and dimes, and beautiful, right? We have $1 equals $1 of backed gold. Perfect. As our gold storings go up in value because of scarcity and market values, so too do your dollars. You can buy more with your dollars. Everything's great. Then the government says, we have too much gold here. It's costly to store. It's difficult to move around. No one really cares if their money's backed by anything, do they? Let's sell all the gold, print the money, and base it by nothing, and nothing bad will happen. And I think we're now like seeing the effects.
We'll back it by gold.
Yeah. I think Canada, was one of the first G7 countries that just sold off the last of its gold reserves. Like our money is literally backed by Justin Trudeau's promise. Like,
oh, that's great.
Seems pretty good to me. And but Bitcoin is scary because it's, but I do think that the reason, to answer your first question, the reason Bitcoin or gold wasn't traded like, oh, it's going to the moon. Oh, it's dead now. Oh, China banned it for the 30th time, so it must be bad. Oh, it's too costly for the environment, is only because it was very difficult to trade, right? Like, you had to actually bring it somewhere. You had to give it to someone. They had to authenticate it. They had to weigh it. They then had to send it to the other party. There's just a bunch of time. It's not easy to do that. Like, selling a house and selling anything, selling gold is so much harder than opening up your bitcoinwell.com app and saying, sell Bitcoin, $100, boom, money in the bank. Like literally in 5 seconds, done.
Yeah.
And because Bitcoin does what it's supposed to so well, it's transferred so easily, it's so liquid, there are so many good value props to Bitcoin that the market, while we have these uneasy market times, the market just goes after it and manipulates it, which is, again, I don't think it's a bad thing. Like, we have to flush out these bad market economics before we can get back to like a true sovereign individual lifestyle.
Yeah. Okay. So then I guess, what I think is that like back in the day, we couldn't communicate with one another. I just think I don't know if this is true. This is just my take on it, is that when with gold, people, just like the churches, in a sense, it was like you went to church and you believed what you're told and you kind of did what you were told in a way. And it's like, gold is worth this. Okay, gold is valuable. And like everyone just like adopts that and like follows the rules to a degree, or like mass adopts that. And then now we have YouTube and social media and everyone has an opinion about this. And it's like, you can't even get a vaccine anymore without like, you know, having to research everything and come up with your own opinion, and everyone does what they want to believe anyway. And so maybe that's why, like, now you bring up something like Bitcoin and people are like, well, I don't know, it's good, bad. Like, I think that's just the world we live in now. Like, totally. No one has true faith anymore in anything.
Well, frankly, that should be the case. Like, living in a world where everyone blindly accepts what they're told is not a world that I want to be a part of. I don't think we should ever be blindly accepting.
There's pros and cons.
I think the only pro is that we can be controlled and we can live in bliss, right? Like, look at...
Well, some people need that.
Some people think they need that, but I think the actual answer is some people need to be taught how to be educated. Like,
sure.
Like, I think...
No, that's fair.
I think being... If you put this black and white and said, do you think society should be more educated or more trusting? Like, more educated yields a better result. That's how we get innovators. That's how we get advancement in technology. That's how we get a better future life.
Yeah, understanding. And I guess that's like where my crypto knowledge comes from, is that like I jumped on because I learned a little bit more from like you and some buddies, and eventually I was just like, okay, I'm going to like go for it. But still not enough education. And then the more you educate yourself, the better handle you have on it all, the less like panic buttons you're pressing. But we're chatting a lot about Bitcoin, and I think like if you're watching this, great. You can learn, you can decide for yourself if you want to go down that road of, you know, investing into Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency world or not. You're highly successful doing it. It's really paid off for you. You've like hit the jackpot and just you're a fantastic business person and growing your business just because of your faith and your knowledge base in something, and not just like gambling and trying to get rich quick. It's like, no, obviously you're passionate about this and obviously you believe in this. And that's kind of like me with real estate. It's like, well, the market's going down, you know, people are panicking, and like some of those new investors are just hitting the panic button and wanting to sell at the wrong time. And it's kind of that Warren Buffett saying, I guess it's like when everyone's selling, you should be buying. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So people can find you, like you own your business called Bitcoin Well. On your shirt there, it says your TSX, like,
that's right.
Yeah, publicly
BTCW.
owned. Pretty sweet. So you can connect with Adam if you want to buy or sell or learn more about Bitcoin, for sure. But I'm going back to my question when I started, which you haven't answered yet.
Okay.
Is like, okay, through all this, like the economy right now, we're seeing the highs in the real estate market and the stock market, and then like the lows, and people, you know, getting really greedy and pumped about buying things and having money, and to not having any money and like panicking and not knowing what to do. You've lived through this in the Bitcoin world for the past 10 years, and you've just been like even keel. How do you do it?
It's time preference. Like,
how do you not panic? How do you not just be like,
well,
screw it, I'm selling all my ATMs. Like, I'm sick of this business. You're like,
well, because I believe, like, first of all, I think it's very important that people have a reliable place to acquire Bitcoin safely. And that's what a Bitcoin ATM was. It's what our new online portal is. Like, it's.
But even when prices go down,
for sure, even especially then, because I believe that Bitcoin has such long-term benefits to individuals and to the bloodlines of individuals. Like I fully believe that the Bitcoin I acquire today will be used and benefit from with my great grandkids, who I don't even know. I don't know what they will be or how they will look or how they will sound, or I don't know when they'll be born and nothing, but they should be able to benefit from the efforts that I put in today. And Bitcoin is the only tool that gives me any certainty that will happen. So I know that I'm doing a benefit to at least my ancestors. And I believe that other people that buy Bitcoin have similar values to throw down the bloodline.
But how do you not get caught up in like the short term, like,
it's time preference. It's
man,
like,
I could just sell all of this and like,
And
retire.
then do what? But do like, what? Retire? There's no chance. I don't think $10 million is enough to retire today. Like for you and I, 30-year-olds, there is no chance $10 million gets you enough. Not a chance. Cost of living is
pretty simple guy.
Nah, man. You're not. You got a car. No. You're gonna have to fill that car with gas, right? Doesn't matter how simple you are, you gotta get around, right? You're gonna heat your house, right? Your power bill's tripled this year. Yeah. Your daughter wants to eat an apple once in a while, right? Maybe she does like apples. Maybe some red meat. Like no red meat?
No, she likes meat.
You gotta get her some red meat.
We're going more into like the vegetarian vegan, like more and more.
No. You need like good bloody red meat.
I like that too.
In the bones and guts of our children. But like $10 million, even invested perfectly at this 6% rate of return, and your wealth guy is gonna capture a 6 to 10%, that won't even keep up with inflation. Like we are traveling down such a tumultuous, our money has been handled so poorly. The economic policy of Canada has been handled so poorly that I do not believe having $10 million in the bank today will be able to stretch me out 60 years. There's no way that is going to be and maintain a family with 2 cars that goes on a trip once a year, plays, each kid plays an activity, and you heat your house comfortably and like has a comfortable life, right?
There's no amount of money that someone could offer you to be like, yeah, I'm good. Like I'll take that money and I'm gonna.
Well, sure, okay, let's say $1 billion. I would just buy Bitcoin with it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you just don't. There's not enough money to live off and sustain, and you firmly believe that.
Well, but then okay, $1 billion, I could for sure stretch that out 60 years. But then what do my kids get? So what? I just become some consumeristic animal and I just consume.
Yeah, so you're thinking really long term.
Dude, you have to be. It is our duty. If you are not thinking in 21, 23 right now,
it's so hard it's so hard to think that far.
No.
Because people are just thinking about what am I going to eat tomorrow? How am I going to afford cheese?
But that's the problem with the money, right?
Cheese is $100
If you had savings, if you had, if your great grandfather from 100 years ago had a piece of technology that they could store their value in, right? Didn't get caught up in the fiat casino, didn't get caught up in the crypto casino, didn't care about the new whatever flashy thing that everyone needs to have. If your great grandfather wasn't materialistic, and your grandfather and your dad or your mom or your grandma or not a gender thing, just all the people before you.
Be careful.
if they had that low time preference, that ability to look 100 years down the line and think, where am I storing the value that I create today? How am I being as productive as possible so that little Jimmy Jr. or little Jane Jr. in 100 years has the best shot at having the best life?
Hey, that's well put.
You just wouldn't care as much, right?
I don't think you care. I like that.
It's the way to be, man. You got to have a low time preference.
Okay, so I guess the key to your success is just thinking very long term. Yeah. And a true passion and true faith in what you're believing
in what you're doing, for sure.
And you have been you are the poster child for that, where it's not like me who I'm well, Adam's doing pretty good with this crypto stuff.
Right.
Should I join?
Right.
And people will call me, hey, those rentals sound pretty cool now.
Should I get into rentals?
Yeah. Can I jump on that bandwagon or whatever's cool at the time?
Yeah.
Or day trading or whatever. And then people are jumping.
Oh, day trading. I mean, taking drop shipping was big, and now it's little virtual Etsy things and a YouTube channel, and everyone's an expert in something and has a microphone like us. And
easy.
But you know what I mean? What are you passionate? I'm super passionate about making sure that people can acquire Bitcoin responsibly and that they know what they're doing. And so talking about it and making platforms that allow people to do that seems like the obvious.
Well, and you have fun along the way.
Yeah, of course.
And whether it goes up or down, it long term. So that's super good. Just life advice, I would say, is even in the real estate world or stock market world or crypto world, is if you don't know what you're investing in and understand it and believe in it, have a true faith in what's going on there. And then if you're not thinking long term,
it comes down to the work.
Long term, think about your kids.
Generational wealth.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't think people think about that. They're
no.
How do I get a Lamborghini before I die.
Yeah. No, before I'm 30 or before I'm 40, right?
Yeah.
Like it's pitiful that
Did
we
you
don't
think that way though? Like when you, let's say, weren't as wealthy?
No. Like what?
Like when you couldn't afford the coolest Tesla.
Right. Like it's easy for me to sit here knowing that I can buy whatever, like not whatever I want.
Like, was there a time when you're like, oh man, I just want to buy that, whatever. Sure. And then you got to it and you're like, oh.
Bingo.
Over it.
Bingo.
There's so much more to life.
Exactly.
There's bigger things out there.
Dude, I feel sick. Like I spent 100 Bitcoin on a car. That's stupid.
What car?
The Tesla. When I bought
Your first Tesla?
When I bought it, it was worth 100 Bitcoin.
You paid 100 Bitcoin for it?
Right. So like back
Were they
in
accepting Bitcoin at that time?
No. I took 100 Bitcoin, sold it,
right,
and then bought a car with the proceeds.
Yeah.
And so when you think about that, how stupid is that? I spent 25 Bitcoin on shoes, on Yeezys and Pharrell Williams Adidas collabs.
I'm not surprised about that one.
But like that's what getting caught up in that materialistic, like I've been there, right? You get caught up in this materialistic, and don't get me wrong, the cars are cool.
Are you materialistic anymore?
Is
there a turning point?
Certainly, yeah. I mean, certainly I'm materialistic. Like I still drive a Tesla and I wear decent shoes. Like, I still do, I've got a cool Pokemon collection, but I'd say every single year or every cycle, every 4 years, every Bitcoin cycle, when I'm like, do I want a cool Pokemon collection or do I want 10 Bitcoin right now? 10 Bitcoin's worth like $5 million, right? Like whatever it'll be worth. Like, let's be honest, what you want, right? And then it's like, what does my great-great-grandkid want? Like, no one's going to look me in the eyes and be like, your great-grandkid's going to be super stoked on that first edition Charizard. No, right? My great-grandkid is going to want 5 Bitcoin, right? Yeah. What's going to give my great-grandkid the best shot at a sovereign life? At the ability to have wealth, to have money, go wherever they want to go, set up camp, start a business, do whatever they want to, invent something. Like, how do I give my kids, my grandkids, my great-grandkids, how do I give them the best shot at changing the world?
Fighting chance.
Yeah, man. And it's not with Teslas, Yeezys, and Pokemon cards. It's with Bitcoin.
That's a good point when you put it that way.
I mean, and that's what I mean. Like, looking long-term is quite simple. It's like, well, this cheeseburger that I'm about to have, are my great-grandkids going to hope that I have this cheeseburger or not? Like, yes, it's going to fuel me and whatever else. But like, it changes your perception when you're forcing yourself to think 100 years down the line. Yeah. It changes that's called low time preference. Having a high time preference is like, get whatever gratification and value that I can extract today. And who cares about the next month? Who cares about 5 years from now? Leverage me up 95%, baby. Go buy 6 more houses. Go buy 400,000 Shiba casino coins. Like, leverage me up and then give me whatever can give me more leverage. And that's just like, go figure, that comes crashing down. Like, what did we expect was going to happen?
Yeah.
That's my perception. Easy to sit here in hindsight, but that's my perception.
Okay. Well, I like that outlook, and you have to be thinking long term. I think we could go down the rabbit hole of because you have the best of both worlds. Like,
sure,
you definitely have play money, and it's like you can go and still have a lot of fun. You're still going to like all Jake Paul's fights and stuff.
Sure,
doing all the cool
I get
stuff.
to do cool things, right? 100%.
But you're also putting money aside for long-term wealth. So, oh, Adam, you're so stupid. I can't believe you sold 100 Bitcoins for your Tesla. Well, but if you don't, like, let's say you just have, I don't know, 10,000 Bitcoin in the account, but you're wearing like whatever crappy old sandals and you've never done anything fun in your life.
The key.
Well, there's nothing good about that either. So totally. you need some balance. So like,
exactly.
Let's say that the average person out there who makes, I don't know, 60K a year, what would you say put into
2%?
2% of your salary or your paycheck,
your net worth.
Invest it. And I know you're saying invest it into
save it,
Bitcoin.
Save it in Bitcoin.
But would you just say in general, invest in general 2%?
No, I would say save it.
You don't think about investing in anything other than Bitcoin, like
or
you're
Bitcoin
all in.
well stock. I my PR team's gonna freak when they see that. I think that saving is so much different than investing. Investing should only be done with money you can afford to lose. If you're making 60 grand a year living in Edmonton, Alberta right now, you cannot afford to lose 2% of your paycheck. But
and that's scary because the cost of living here is like so low compared to everywhere else.
100%, man. 100%. It's and that's what I mean. Like, if everything is going up in value, it's not. The unit that you are using to pay with that is just decreasing in value, right? The fact that we are not up in and capitalism is causing inflation. The government is not causing it. Give your head a shake, right? The government manipulates the dollar so that inflation is coming into the world. That is...
Well, they manipulate it to keep everyone on par, I think. So it's like when people are really struggling, it's like, here's your handout.
Right.
And when people are doing really well, they're like, take all your money and then try and keeping everyone in the middle.
All they're doing, like if you look at this as a doctor scenario, all they've done, somebody comes in with a broken arm, they've pumped that person full of oxy and not given them surgery to fix the arm. So sure, once the oxy wears off, you still got a busted arm. It's still disjointed and out of place.
Yeah, come talk to me when you're hurting again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You got to cut that arm open, little bit of pain, fuse the bones back together, a lot more pain, and then sew it up. More pain. You got to go through pain to fix things. And like, that's just life. Like, that's not the government's fault. It's not my fault. It's not capitalism's fault or communism's fault or whatever. That's just physics. It's just like this guy said to me this great quote one time. He said, when virtue signaling and physics meets, physics always wins. Physics is just, that's life. And you cannot, there has to be a balance in the world. Anytime you artificially destruct that balance, there is infinite more pain. And this is what governments are horrible at. Have you heard of the Cobra effect?
No.
Okay, this is
Sounds like a Taekwondo move.
This is a perfect example of how governments think and how they are incapable of thinking past the first consequence. So in, I think it's like the 13 or the 1400s, the British Empire takes over India. And they have a cobra problem in India.
This is a real story.
Yeah. This is like if you like on Wikipedia, Cobra effect, you'll find this.
Okay.
So the Indian society is getting eaten by cobras in the jungle. It's very bad. You can imagine. The British Empire is like, well, we can't have our brand new citizens. They have to like us. We can't have them being eaten by cobras. So we must do something. So they said, I know. We'll pay the citizens to kill cobras. That'll get rid of the cobras. Incentivize them to do that, right? Seems pretty good. So the government puts out a bounty on a cobra head. If you bring us a cobra head, you've killed a cobra, we will pay you for that work that you've done. Yeah. Everyone's very happy. And then some people try to scam the system. They say, well, I can go out and catch the cobras. It's dangerous, takes some time. I don't always know where they are. Or I can just capture a couple and breed them. And I will have an infinite supply of cobras to kill and of money.
Cobras are the currency now.
Cobras are the currency, right? Cobra eggs are the currency. I'll give you 5 cobra eggs. That's like derivatives, right? It's like, here's 5 sure things that'll be very valuable in the future because I want to get paid right now. So there we go. Okay, all good. So there's these cobra farms. The government is obviously upset. They're getting scammed. They're paying for things that wasn't the intent, that wasn't the spirit of it. And so there's obvious like solutions to that, right? Like just make cobra farming illegal. There's ways that you can do that. But whatever. The government says, screw this. No more cobra bounty, right? There is no more bounty on the cobras. So what happens?
Cobras take over.
All the cobra farmers release the now worthless cobras into the wild, making the cobra problem infinitely worse than it was when they originally put the bounty on the cobra head. Now, a reasonable capitalist would have either seen that coming and not done that, or would have had to adapt or would have died in that scenario. Like their business would have just gone under, right? And that's how physics should work. But instead, the government comes in, there's no problems. They have just this infinite pile of fake money that they can print around and do things. Therefore, physics won't apply and they are able to just wreck and manipulate things. And so I think that when we think about printing money, people have no jobs. What should we be doing here? Well, let's print a bunch of money and give it to them, right? That's putting a bounty on the cobra head. Then people take that fake money, right? It's worthless, obviously. It's printed from nothing. There's no work behind it. It's useless. And they pump it into the stock market, into real estate, into a new office for their house, into Pokemon cards, into whatever, right? Value goes up.
Cards.
The government's like, dude, Pokemon cards are crazy. The government's like, well, we can't be having all this free money floating around. They didn't do anything for it. They're making all this money in real estate investing and in their TFSA. This is not good. We must raise interest rates because we know that will tame things down. And now we're hyper screwed, right? Yeah. We are way, 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 way worse off in 2022 than we would have been in 2020, sans handouts. Way worse off, right? There's the but it's no longer the government's fault. It's the economy's fault. The government did everything they could. No, it's garbage, right? They're short-sighted monsters that are either incapable or unwilling to look past the primary effect of what they're trying to do. And I think that's the main problem, is that societally we're incapable of thinking as a longer lens, and we just believe things without testing the value of it.
Yeah, that's true. And that's getting us back to what we were talking about before, where people are just thinking about tomorrow. It's like, I just got
this afternoon.
Yeah, I got to live another day. I just got to make my car payment. Oh, and then it's also that everyone needs to be driving the nice car, have the new
make
iPhone.
A car payment. Yeah, what's good? Go buy a little Honda Civic.
Yeah.
They run forever. Like $1,000 to get you a Honda Civic, plug it in. You're good to go.
Yeah. Well, not $1,000 anymore. It's hard to find
any
car.
I don't know. Maybe
cheap,
not.
But no, I like that analogy.
Like everything is more expensive when you try to live outside your means. Right. And when you're living outside your means, you're actively taking away from your future generation. Like every time you make a car payment on a car that you can't afford, you buy something you don't need, you are actively taking money out of your great granddaughter's mouth or food or whatever.
But it's also like technology is advanced in such a way that like we're almost like forced to keep up with the Joneses in a way, just because there's like adoption of technology. And then it's like, well, now you need an iPhone for Apple Pay, or you need this.
You're doing pretty well in here, and you're like using an older iPhone for one of your camera angles.
Hey.
Like that's like, but like you know what I mean? Like, like do you need, or are we perceptionally taught and told that?
That's true. Yeah, it's just like,
and if we had that look, like right now,
understanding of you need this and you need that to
totally
keep up with.
And I'm still learning this like time preferencing. I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I do think there's value in just checking ourselves against like, well, is that really important or no?
Yeah. Okay, the other thing that I wanted to talk to you about was like bring this back into real estate. So I loved what you were saying about thinking long term. I liked what you were saying about like the government just hands out money, like, oh, people can't get a job, can't work. It's like, here you go. It reminds me of a story of like, I was trying to rent out one of our properties one time and put up some ads, met this like really nice lady. She came to like check it out. I'm like, so what do you do for work? And she's like, I'm like a hula hoop something, like does hula hooping at like festivals and stuff.
Okay, yeah.
She's like, I got like 100, like some kind of performer. I'm like, oh, that's cool, but man, you must have got like rocked during COVID. Like that must have been really hard. And she's like, no, it was fantastic. Like I got my CERB, like I got my government money, and it was amazing. That was fantastic.
All that says is I wasn't forced to innovate and adapt.
But isn't it interesting? Like the attitude behind that is like, yay, this is so good.
Money for nothing.
But again, it's short-term thinking where people are like, or I read something about yesterday, I forget what the number was, but it was like an insane amount of money and people that the government gave like CERB money to that was like fraudulent. So now they have to pay that back. That money's spent.
It was like they figured they'll be able to recover 30% of it or something like it's unrecoverable basically.
Yeah. But if they go, hey, I don't know, Jimmy, we're going to need that money back. He's going to be like, well, I wasn't working. I couldn't hula hoop. My hula hoop didn't work in COVID. So what do you want me to do?
It was too dangerous to hula hoop.
Yeah. And I ate, good steak at the keg with that money. So
thank you very much.
Yeah. Anyways, not to like really put a negative spin on some of those people that were going through a tough time, but it was just like the attitude that she came being like, no, it was fantastic that I couldn't work and that the government stepped in. I'm like, that's scary. But yeah, just thinking long term. That's just a good life lesson and investing and not looking with a microscope of like, what is my house worth today and what is my house worth tomorrow and blah, 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 blah. But my next question, you own real estate and like kind of growing up with you, I've seen you buy things or try and sell things. At one time you tried to give away a house.
I did. Didn't work.
Didn't work out, but
couldn't give a house away.
So you own real estate, but then you were starting to send me some messages of like, I don't want to own real estate. I'd rather rent. And I'm more of a guy that's like there are certain times where I think renting works, but I also just believe in investing your money, because I also believe like inflation and your money is being devalued, to invest it into owning land. But now you don't even believe in that. So what's kind of the thought process behind that? And
so I don't think land brings generational wealth. I think land brings a quality of life, a short-term quality of life, like short on the relative scale. Like
land brings you a good quality of life?
Yeah. Like if you own
a cool house?
Sure. If you own a cool house.
Well, I come from a farming family, so I actually see like the difference.
So you see,
I had to work hard on that land. I didn't get to like.
Well, but that brought you pretty good quality of life.
Go and have an awesome.
I saw your
cool
your golf clubs growing up. I saw your cool sneakers in high school. You had a good quality of life.
Well, I was taught to work hard, and my family has always worked hard. But the wealth came from that land going up in value.
No, the wealth came from if that land was overgrown, not attended to, if you guys weren't actively farming it, actively working to help at least maintain the value of that land, it would be worth half as much. Right? There's a reason
the value
land
would still be there, but you need the money. It's kind of like thinking about Bitcoin. You want to hold it long term, but you also need active income just to pay like for the shoes and the groceries and the bills. It's not like
you need a job.
We're leveraging that land and just like living off like the land value,
the debt. Right.
Yeah, but that's the generational wealth potential there, where we can say, so we could sell that land one day, or we can farm it, or we can whatever, just like a rental property in my mind. We could sell that property one day, or we can continue to rent it, and then it should produce an income, and whether the money goes up or down, your rents kind of adjust for that, and then there should be some kind of payment from that.
So, but you have risk in that, right? Like that's not talking about an investment anymore.
Everything.
That's talking about now a job. So you're going to have a job in renting property, which is fine, right? If you want renting property to be your job, let's talk about that.
Not if you invest in it.
No, it still is a job. You either pay someone else to do that job, or you have to do it.
It's a business, I guess you can look at it from that sense. Like
yes,
you can hire a property manager to like maintain that, just like the farmer. Like you can lease the land or whatever.
Like if it's not worth it for you to go make the tenant appointments and book the cleanings and whatever, then you pay somebody else. Like, but no one's doing that for free.
There could still be profit at the end of the day.
Could be, but there's risk is what I'm saying. So what happens if the government says, you know what? These house owners, they're all rich.
Tax.
There's a flipping tax. For sure. Yeah. And like anyone that owns a house, they're rich. And we all know that the rich people are bad. Mm-hmm. And so there's now a rental cap. You cannot charge more than 5% of your average cost to renters. Mm-hmm. So now the government is able to artificially decrease the value of that home or the value of the monthly income. So there's risk in the unknown of what the overlords will do in that jurisdiction, right? Mm-hmm. Property taxes. You know what? Homeowners are rich, and we hate rich people. So homeowning tax, if you don't live in the home you live in, boom, property tax triples because it's a business, and you deserve to be taxed, you dirty rich man, right? We're seeing this language already, right? You know what?
They're saying dirty man?
Dirty rich man?
Yeah.
Well, I think Justin Trudeau calls them something else, but...
does he even address Albertans?
No, he just talks about the dirty wealthy people.
The dirty wealth, which he's right in there.
Not perceptionally, but yes, he is. You own a house and you're a dirty rich man and we don't like you anymore. And so we are mandating that you give rebates back to your tenants if your XYZ bill comes in. Like there are all kinds of risks that you have no idea exist, right? Mm-hmm. What happens if insurance companies decide, renters are pretty high volatility and they're often don't have a job. And so they're not that good of people or whatever in this income bracket. So you got to carry higher rental insurance than you do if you were living in it as an upstanding citizen. Like there are just all kinds of risks that we don't associate with the potential, not to mention, oh, by the way, there's an LRT going through this block now. So your house is mine. And here's your price. You don't like it? Sorry, I own the land beneath the land, so I win.
Right. So and they can try and do that with Bitcoin too, and they're trying to like say,
but they can't. Like
they can try.
Right, but functionally, so they can try with everything. Right? Yeah. They could try with my children. They could say, hey, you aren't fit to have your kids, and so I'm going to take your kids away. And they could try to take them, but like, good luck getting my children, right? And same thing, they can act like you cannot pick this place up. You're not picking up your house and moving it. You can't like dig up the land and be like, I got the grass, so I'm good. Yeah. Like the value is in the location. You cannot take the location just because of physics. Yeah. And so with Bitcoin, I can have $1 billion in Bitcoin on an SD card, pop it down my throat and walk out of the country. Like then dig through my poop later and grab my $1 billion. Like there are.
You're thinking like real doomsday stuff now.
Well, forget it. Let's talk about like Bitcoin's illegal. China has made Bitcoin illegal 13 times. So like
that's it.
That in and of itself is pretty funny because last time I checked, they only made alcohol illegal one time. And then they made it not illegal, right? Heroin's been made illegal once. You don't make something illegal more than one time because you can just ban it. But you can't just ban Bitcoin. That's like a great, like the internet's illegal. Like what's going to happen, right? Are you going to stop using the internet?
Yes, for one day. It's like when you had LimeWire growing up.
Yeah, and then LimeWire was illegal and everyone still
illegal.
used it. Yeah, but I can still get my songs, so I'm good.
Yeah,
but like doomsday
Avril
or not,
Lavigne.
You have to understand the risk, and we're seeing that already. Property tax is going up 15% in the next 3 years. Like, that's a cost. So does that get passed to the renters or passed to you?
Renters, I think. Like right now. So
maybe. But what happens
talking about mortgage rates going up. It's going to be passed down. Like, yeah, some people are going to take a hit. But yeah, most investors are just going to say, hey, renter, sorry. Like, I have to pay an extra blah, blah, blah.
But
so
now there's competition. So now it's like, well, you were going to eat all 15, but I'm going to eat 3% now. So mine's cheaper. So now, now you're...
or Johnny down the road has his house paid off cash, so it doesn't even make a difference.
Bingo. So there are these risks that are associated that are out of your control, right? Now, Bitcoin has different risks, not similar ones. Like you're not sovereign with houses. You're sovereign with Bitcoin, but Bitcoin is not going to make you any cash flow. So it's not going to be a job for you. So yeah, I think there's different ways. But that's what I mean. You invest in something that will bring you cash flow, but you save.
That's what you got, the perfect business.
Well, maybe, but you save something that will earn or that will maintain its value over a period of time. And I think like not one time have I looked at my house and thought, what a savings account. Like I feel super good about this savings account because I don't. It's not a good savings account. It's volatile. You have to pay for it just to be there. Like I have to pay $10,000 in property taxes just to have it here. This is stupid. Right? I have to then pay in case there's a fire. And then I have to pay because the furnace broke. And like all the lights in my garage went out that are 5 years old. So there's a $3,000 bill to get new lights. And by the way, your garage door is broken. And hey, your fridge is broken. And like there is just a ton of costs associated with holding a house. It costs you nothing to hold Bitcoin. Zero. It costs you $0 to hold Bitcoin. And when I compare the two, where do I want $1 million to sit? It's like in this... Both markets are volatile, so we can wipe that out of here. One costs me between $6,000 and $20,000 a year just to be there, and one doesn't.
But real estate, you're going to find that like it all depends on your timing, and if you're thinking like generational wealth, but you
timing should never be considered, I don't think.
But you have your costs covered for today's stuff because. Yeah, it's inevitable. Like, we can't get away from the fact that life costs money.
Totally.
And it's always going to cost money.
Totally.
And it doesn't matter if I pay off my mortgage. It doesn't matter if I throw my phone into the garbage. It doesn't matter if I walk to everywhere I go. Like, you're still going to have to pay to live.
Yeah, it takes energy to live. And that energy is often in our efforts and energy or in the value that we create with our efforts and energy.
So we need cash flow coming in. Like,
yeah, you need a job. You have to go produce.
You have to work. And the way things are going right now, people are going to have to work. Like, there's no retirement anymore. It's like you have to work forever to afford life and then to support the next generation and on from there. Yeah, life's expensive. You need cash flow. You need money coming in. And so that's where you were saying like the Bitcoin side of things is, well, if you just buy Bitcoin, there isn't cash flow.
It's savings, correct.
It's like a savings. So it's like when, things are good, you could potentially cash out or whatever. But it's like with a house, depending on the timing, like if you have good cash flow, that's great. But it's almost like if, I don't know, something really bad happened. I don't know, if I die or something and my family needed some money, they could sell my house, and it's less. The real estate market currently is less volatile than the Bitcoin market. So Bitcoin, if we put all that money into Bitcoin and then I died and then my family needed the money right now, well, I'm just hoping that Bitcoin's kind of, up higher than what I bought it for.
The housing market
is
up higher though, right?
Well, housing market, yeah. Obviously you're hoping everything's worth more than what you paid for it. But at the same time, you're going to see less. Right now, you're currently going to see less drops in value and
I don't know.
peaks and valleys than in
I think the Bitcoin market
Bitcoin world
is obviously volatile instantly because it's so movable and transferable. But I think like there are a lot of mortgages that are going to renew next year, and they are not going to be able to. Like I know a guy in Ottawa who he lived in like a big house, $1.5 million bucks, whatever. His mortgage went up $3,000 a month when he renewed his mortgage. Like there are a lot of people that are morally or that are really, really, really screwed when they go to renew their mortgage. And so what happens? You either get a better job with better pay, which like probably not as easy to do overnight, or you sell the house. And so if that happens to 10 people and all 10 of them have to sell the house and only one guy's buying, so what happens? They become in a bidding war. Down it goes. And then let's scale that across. Everyone should do a fixed interest rate right now because it's scary. It's too much uncertainty. What's going to happen? Well, now it's fixed and now the price is down. So let's refinance. Well, sorry, Jimmy. Now you qualify for a bigger and like these are the market. Like that's what I'm talking about. It's volatile.
Well, but you don't see that in Edmonton.
No, I don't think it's as exaggerated because housing markets are artificially more stable because it takes longer to transact in real estate. If I could sell my house instantly on an open market to anybody, then there would be a lot more volatility because there wouldn't be cooling down periods. Like realtors work 200 days a year, lawyers work 100 days a year. There's like a very small window for a housing
involved. There's a lot of paperwork.
Totally, land titles. Like I bought a house a lake property a few years ago, and it took like 78 days to get my land. Like what? Like I paid for something and 78 days later it was transferred to me. Like it's just it's very time consuming. And then not to mention the actual art of selling a property takes a lot of time. So I think that the downward pressure is just long and drawn out rather than
and there's a utility to it. Everyone needs a place to live.
Totally.
So there is that aspect of it, which is good, which maybe I sound like Handy Andy right now being like, well, I can use the gold.
I can wear it around my neck.
But I guess.
No, you can't use the house. The difference is that the best, like you use apples, right? Everyone eats, like your daughter eats apples. Yeah. We're not here saying, well, you should be buying a bunch of apples because they go bad. What I'm arguing is houses go bad. And we don't think about, no, houses do go bad. You have to replace a furnace every 25 years. The shingles are dead in 10 years. The fridge, like there's property taxes, insurance. Like there are things that you don't have when you rent that you do have when you own. Renting is like you can budget. This is my guaranteed monthly income. If the house burns down, I don't care. I'm gone.
But you're talking primary versus like secondary. So like a primary home, like a lot of people, a lot of realtors out there are like, you shouldn't be renting, you should be buying because at least you're paying down a mortgage and then you own like an asset. And I'm like, well, are you planning to sell soon? Or like if the market heats up, what are you going to do? Sell it and then buy a more expensive house?
Well, that's just it.
Like that, you're not also gaining money. You're not making money there.
They're just forgetting the fact that things I bought a house, an older house, tore it to pieces. I bought it for less than $700K, probably put about $1 million into it and like a new driveway and like whatever kitchen and all the things.
Yeah.
And there's no way it's worth $1.7 million. Like I'm way, 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 way underwater on that house.
But it's Adam Obrien's house, so I don't know.
How do you justify? So it's like quality of life. So let's
okay, but that's not an investment. Again, we're like if we're talking investment,
houses are not investments here.
you're talking like a primary home,
right?
Is not an investment. You know, our parents had an advantage because they caught a time of like, you know, you buy Bitcoin when it was low and then you could use it every day because whatever. And then, it went up like 4 times or whatever. So
housing didn't go up. Houses have always cost what they've costed today. The difference is half the money or a quarter of the money used to go to the bank. Like our parents bought at a time when interest rates were sky high.
Not everyone did. Not everyone financed their home.
True. But they benefited from that time of high interest rates. Like, if you look at a cycle of like...
The bank benefited, but there are people out there who could have
individuals who bought their house with cash during a period of high interest rates benefited from those high interest rates. Because...
because they invest in something else at a better rate is what you're talking about?
No. So take this example of, like, you buy a house for $150,000 at 18% interest. That was like our parents' generation. That was their reality, right?
Yeah.
So... That on an 18% interest mortgage over a 25-year period, over the amortization period, that house costs like $380,000 to $400,000, right?
Okay.
So now interest rates go from 18% to 4%.
Yeah.
that house is now worth 450. So the house that once cost 400, now worth 450, it's kept up with inflation, all good. If you didn't have a mortgage, then that's great. You were able to sell into that.
Or if you had a renter offsetting paying for that,
sure.
then there's a benefit. Then there's a generational wealth, or there's a long-term gain.
Absolutely.
There. So that's where I'm saying.
But you're buying a job. Like if you're able to supplement your income by having additional sources of income, all you're doing is just being more efficient with your time, which is what I'm a huge proponent of.
Right. Yeah. So like we have investors in all over the world, like you have people in like Australia. Yeah. Who I want to put my money into something. I want something a little bit more stable. But they're not buying a job necessarily.
Well, they are because they have to manage you.
Well, no, they call me and they go, okay, find me a house and then get me a property manager. And then that property manager will take care of the handyman, whatever.
You do that for free?
No, there's a cost involved, but left over, they're doing their analysis of like what they're getting on like ROI, the return on their cash input, and then they're going, hey, I feel good about this investment. The numbers are good. There's still that.
But if what if the numbers aren't good? What happens?
Yeah, so then you have to be working with a better real estate agent. It becomes a job.
They have to find a better real estate agent. Right. They have to find a better place to put their money. It becomes a job. So they're lucky that they have Nick from Cleancut Real Estate. I used to be Cleancut Landscaping, then Cleancut Renovations. You've really grown it up, man. Now it's just real estate.
Do it all.
So they're lucky they have Nick from Cleancut Real Estate to be that proper thing. But it's still a job. They still have to actively manage that. They still have to look at it and say, is this a good return or is it not, right? They've outsourced lots of that work to you.
That's any kind of investment. You have to look 100%. At your portfolio. What, am I investing in gold? Am I investing in stocks, bonds, Bitcoin, whatever? There's still that job of managing your portfolio.
Unless, and this is where I think we'll differ. Bitcoin isn't an investment. Bitcoin's a savings tool. If you believe in the ethos of what you think sound money should be, right? Houses are not sound money.
So there's never a time like, what if okay, so you pass away at... whatever, you're into tech and it's going to keep up with the medical system. So you're going to live till you're 150. Then your kids inherit all your stuff.
Sure.
And they get your Bitcoin. And then, maybe there's some volatility in the market. Like, do they just hold on to it for their next generation to come? Or is there ever a time that it's like, hey,
why?
No, I actually have to like put this into use?
But why?
Because I have cancer and I can't afford blah blah blah, and this person died, and like
great time to have savings for sure. Great time to have savings, right?
And
absolutely.
Then it's like that time might happen right when COVID hit. Pure panic. Bitcoin goes from $23,000 to $4,000, and people are like now do I sell out, right? And that's kind of the hard part. It's like I'm hoping I'm timing that right, because when people are in this time of panic, I feel like that's the time when Bitcoin should be shooting up, because people are going, it did after the government printed a bazillion dollars. But before that, I was laughing with my a couple buddies. COVID happened. People are sitting at home. We're encouraged to stay home. Like, what are you doing all day? Well, I don't know. I want to start working out again. Okay, let's have a workout competition. Bitcoin is at like $4,000 right now. Let's go put $500 on Bitcoin each, and then in 3 months,
whoever gets it,
we're gonna have like a workout competition. Whoever is the strongest gets like all that Bitcoin, and it's gonna be worth like way more. And it was like that was the reality. Like 3 or 4 months went by, government started handing out money. Businesses are getting an extra 10 grand, 20 grand, 30 grand in their account for no reason. Some businesses are still thriving. It's like renovations and real estate are still doing well, and the government's like, here's 30 grand, 0% interest. I'm like, okay, what are you going to do with this? Let's put it into Bitcoin or whatever. That's when it takes off. But what about the times when it's like, no, COVID's actually a real thing. I'm actually really struggling for money. And then that's when people panic and sell. And that it's just backwards, because I go back to the emotion thing where people just get too emotional. But if they have the faith like you do, in Bitcoin, people should be either just owning it and keeping it, or like buying more at those times, right?
That is what happened.
But they're not. They didn't, and that's what.
Not at the mass scale, but like you could argue the same thing about housing right now, right? Like housing prices have fallen, like hard stop. They've fallen in Edmonton, right? Yeah. They haven't crashed. Houses aren't worthless. They're not foreclosing, but like housing prices have fallen, which means there's more sellers than there are buyers, which means
that's actually balanced, but yeah.
It's a balance?
It's a balanced market right now because it's really low inventory. So people don't even want to sell. Either they don't have enough equity in their home to sell, or it's like, I don't know what to do right now. I don't know where the market's at. I have mortgage rate of
just
this.
sit on it.
I'm just going to sit on it. So it's actually low inventory and not a lot of buyers. So it's just like nothing's happening.
Stale.
Balanced market. But the good thing about Alberta, Edmonton in particular is, and this is kind of like, if you're going to talk about the housing market, it's just like if I was talking about cryptocurrency
Right.
and you're like, well, don't talk about Dogecoin when you're talking about Bitcoin. Like, don't even put them in the same sentence. That's kind of like, well, I invest in Edmonton because we're making like the same amount of money here as like everywhere else in Canada, but the cost of living here is half. Like, it's really, really low. So there's a lot of incentive to move back here. When times are good, everyone's like, oh, I want to be by the beach in Kelowna. I want to go to Vancouver.
I can afford to buy that big house.
But now people are coming back, and now there's low inventory. So maybe the market will go up in Edmonton in these tough times. And then there's renters from Toronto who are like, oh, I was paying $3,000 a month for my apartment, and
I can get me a huge house in Edmonton.
You're charging $2,000. I'm like, actually, it's $2,300 now. They're like, that's still a good deal. I'll rent that or whatever. I'll buy that. So
sure,
it's kind of an anomaly,
but that's volatility.
It's a different space that we're working in, and then there's government intervention. That's the thing that you were talking about that Bitcoin doesn't have. But I forget where we started on that.
Well, I think I fully believe that real estate as a whole is a good investment, right? 5-6% annual return. Got someone else handling it all. It's a way to supplement a job or supplement cash flow and park your money for a short-term value. I think the long-term risks of real estate greatly outweigh the long-term risk of Bitcoin and the short-term benefits. Like, even if you're making 10% a year on your REIT or on your whatever, I don't think you're outpacing inflation. I just don't see how that's happening. So why are you parking your money in something that's not outpacing inflation with the added, it's like, well, for the long term, well, sure, but there's all these long-term risks that are associated with that. So
but your home's value should go up with inflation. Like, it should follow kind of the follow with inflation, and rents should as well. But I agree with you with the primary.
But what about the costs? Like okay, your house benefit does, but now there's this special homeowners tax because you have a home, and only rich people have homes, and we don't like rich people anymore.
Yeah, so it goes back to the government intervention.
There's long-term risks.
And that's the biggest thing.
I think...
So you want to sell all your real estate and
I'd keep my lake. I don't think... so this is where you balance quality of life.
Why not? Just Airbnb, jump around, have really nice places.
No,
you don't have to take care of it. You don't have to
special. Clean it. It's that's a quality of life decision, though. I know that do you know what my lake...
That's like buying the Tesla.
Yeah. Do you know what I call my lake? It's called the Liability Lodge. I know for a fact. It is a massive liability. Yeah. And that's okay because we can have people up there. It's Christmas time, New Year's time, my birthday. The Liability Lodge, baby. Yeah. My house.
Do you think you could turn it into a cash flowing asset?
For sure I could. I just don't want to. I want to be able to say...
That's nice to know that you have the option.
If I want another job, I don't have the time.
Your house, you couldn't do that. Your primary residence, you couldn't do that.
I could.
You can't turn that into a cash flowing asset.
I could suite it. I have a direct thing down to the basement. I could suite that up.
Yeah, but you're not going to get enough rent for the downside. Like, for what you put into it, that's more of a liability for sure.
Well, I don't know. Like, for my monthly costs. But if the mantra is that it's going to long term go up, then what is the amount in care? If my costs are $2,000, I'll for $2,000 a month or $3,000 a month in a mortgage, I'll for sure get that back. Renting out 7 bedrooms in Sherwood Park, but I don't think that it's a long-term value hoarding. Or if it is, I think there are risks that I'm unable or unwilling to accept in order to well, I shouldn't say I'm willing. I mean, I currently own it. If someone wants to buy it, please come buy my house and I'll be a great tenant, I promise. But I don't.
But don't you think those costs are passed on to you? Like, I know a lot of people are like, well, I don't want to take care of the broken fridge or the this or the property taxes. But I always just think, like, aren't landlords always going to pass those expenses?
Sure, but I can leave. Like I have the option to...
And go where?
El Salvador, Bermuda. I can go to Mexico and go to Phoenix.
Rent cheaper? Yeah, I guess.
Is rent cheaper in Phoenix? 100%. Texas?
That's actually
you
a
betcha.
question. This is just like more of a personal question, but why are you sticking around in Edmonton?
Family. It's just community, man.
It's not a love for Edmonton?
Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong. I do love Edmonton. I think Edmonton's a really unique. Edmonton's the perfect small little town or small big town where, like,
Sherwood Park.
Well, no, Edmonton.
It's a beautiful hamlet.
Sherwood Park. I live in Sherwood Park and I love Sherwood Park. I think Edmonton is a really ripe spot to build a business right now because there's support, there's community, and there's growth potential. But you're not bogged down with like Vancouver style, Calgary style, corporate kind of greed and nonsense. So I do think that Edmonton's really, really good. I more so, like, if we were to leave Edmonton, I wouldn't stay in Canada. I think Canada is a ticking time bomb. I think Alberta has the best shot in Canada, and Edmonton has the best shot in Alberta as far as like what will thrive for my grandkids. It's definitely Edmonton.
Edmonton's a spot
for sure. And I'm also like I'm a pretty big pansy. Like, I just like the warm weather a lot better than the cold weather. So
I think that's most people.
I think so.
But you buy a nice coat and some boots, and
you got to do it.
Then your life costs half of what it costs elsewhere.
In Canada. Right. I can put you up in whatever house you want for $1,000 in like India. Right? You wanna go live in like Guatemala? You can live in a castle for like $500 a month.
Yeah.
Mexico,
big
let's go.
lifestyle change.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So but that's kind of the point, right? Is like
So you believe in investing in Edmonton?
Absolutely. I love investing in Edmonton.
But you still want to be a renter. You still want to sell everything except for your liability lodge.
Except for the liability lodge. Only because of lifestyle, though.
But that's just like, lifestyle choice because you can afford it.
If I was thinking purely financially speaking, I would very strongly advise that you rent primary, right? If there's lifestyle choices that you can afford to make, then yeah, for sure. Go buy a place in Phoenix that you want to leave your, like, it's nice getting on a plane with just your computer and then going to your house in Phoenix. Like that's a lifestyle convenience and a lifestyle luxury that you can afford to have, then yeah, for sure, do it. But I don't think we should kid ourselves and think that these houses are these great investments that are like, you can justify having 9 houses because they're all investments. Like, no. You have an incredible amount of risk that you are just ignoring or incompetent and not looking at. And you have to factor in the risks when talking to them about being investments, in my opinion.
Well, again, you're putting it all together. You're not separating like investment versus farmland versus raw land versus
aren't those investments?
Multifamily versus, well, I think like you're looking at the primary residence, and yeah, that for sure. Like,
even as a renter, though, you're exposed to the market when you are a business that rents real estate.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what happens if...
And you'd still prefer to rent your primary than to own something.
I would, yeah, for sure. Because then I wouldn't have, like, again, so this is where quality of life versus, like, the house that I have would be very difficult to rent, right? Because it's automated and it's got the garage that I want and it's got the yard that I want and the hockey rink that I want and, like, whatever. So
what else you got?
You want to buy it? I got a 36-inch range with gas, an outdoor kitchen that I can use for 4 months of the year.
Not even.
Got a 1,000 square foot deck, which is actually pretty nice. But anyways, like.
Do you got the virtual golf set up in there yet?
No, I actually sold the virtual golf.
You had it?
I did, yeah. I bought a virtual golf.
Like a Topman or whatever it's called?
OptaShot or OptaShot, I think.
Isn't that like playing Wii? Or is it pretty good?
No, it was awesome. Yeah? I had like a full like 10-inch screen, like you actually like hit, or 10-foot screen.
10 inch?
It was 10 inches.
I would miss that.
You actually like take your driver. It's like I had a mat, and, like the computer and like the whole bit. Yeah, it was cool. It was pretty cool. But I didn't.
You're over it?
I didn't have a place to set it up. Wasn't playing it enough.
Yeah, like I'll just fly to Phoenix and golf.
No, I was just like, I don't have time to golf anyway. I got 4 kids. I got a business to run.
That's so true.
It's like a lifestyle thing, right?
Yeah.
OptaShot's not going up in value anytime soon. I can probably buy a better one for cheaper later.
Yeah.
So and that's kind of the mindset
neither
with
is your Apple products, but you continue to buy those, right?
Apple products? I think Apple's done a really good job of like giving me value. Like, just the ecosystem play of like iOS is way better than Android, I think.
But you don't need the new MacBook
for sure.
Every year.
Well, because of the amount of videos I edit, it is helpful. Like, it actually does save my time. Now, am I using that time to be productive, or am I using that time to sit and
watch cat memes?
Like, but that's the difference, right? It's like, we have to look at everything in our lives as, is this taking value away or adding value to my life? A faster computer can add value to your life if you have a computer-centric job, or if your computer is taking time to do things, then yeah, bring that bring that back in, invest in the new computer, gain that time, and then be productive with that time. So that's like one thing. Or if you're like, my time is not that valuable, it's better that I keep that money in myself, in my bank account, in Bitcoin, whatever, because my time is not valuable.
Sweat equity, or like,
sure,
you can just put that in there. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Okay, so I guess some good life lessons, some bombs of knowledge going off here, but basically we're saying think long term. That's what I'm taking away from this. Have generational savings.
Thoughts about
generational thoughts,
sure.
But also like some kind of savings of some kind, whether you believe in the dollar, real estate, Bitcoin, whatever that is, stocks, bonds, whatever. Have some kind of something that you believe will grow long term. Not for me, it's for like generational. But then you also need cash flow coming in. So that's where your business is set up. Some cash flow to come in. You have your long term
you just need a job
there, like and then you're thinking.
I think it's
and then keeping your lifestyle in check.
Yeah.
So that your job can
pay for that. A job.
And then it's like you just have this nest egg that's going to, if everything really blows up, you can tap into that, or generational wealth can tap into that so that they have something to go off of. But that being said, do you diversify at all? Or is it like, I'm a firm believer of Bitcoin, so every extra penny that I have to invest in, it's going into Bitcoin. Obviously not like you are buying some real estate and some other things. I don't know if you're like a stocks bonds guy, but
I buy real estate the same way I buy like Big Macs. Like I just want
wow.
Them, like not
that's a big statement.
No, but like you don't buy a Big Mac because you think it's going to improve your life in 45 years. You buy a Big Mac
because you want heartburn and diarrhea. That's actually a good analogy.
I have a theory. I have a theory about eating like garbage, is that you're actually a tougher individual when you eat like garbage because you aren't forced.
Oh, don't even get me started
because you aren't forced to eat healthy all the time. But that's just because I'm lazy and eat like garbage. But like real estate to me is a lifestyle choice, not an investment choice. And so balancing lifestyle and like investment, or what I would call savings in Bitcoin, is an active like negotiation in my brain. And when an opportunity came up to purchase like a lake property that my young family could go out and enjoy, it's an hour and a half away.
No, but you're thinking of it as just another toy. You're not thinking of it as an investment.
No.
So, so how you have your business set up, I try and think of that similar in the real estate game, where like a real estate commission or a renovation can produce active income
for sure,
while also owning investment property and real estate to invest in, to have a nest egg or grow for savings or long-term generational whatever wealth
100%
for people. So we're similar on that page, but I want to know, do you diversify that portfolio, or are you like I'm 100%, I don't know, you don't have to share if it's too personal, but
no,
like,
it's not.
It just like
I have yet to
find every savings into Bitcoin, and then I just have my fun money.
Yeah. It's like
nothing else excites you, nothing, you just don't believe in anything else the same way that you believe in Bitcoin.
Totally. Like, do you think there's money to be made selling Crocs?
Yeah.
Do you own Croc stock?
Oh yeah, I'm all in. 100%.
No, why? Because there's other things that excite you, right? Like there's Lego. Lego has been better performing than real estate over the last.
You keep bringing up the Crocs.
Crocs are good. I love Crocs. First of all, I have 5 pairs of Crocs. Love them all. I have Mickey Mouse Crocs, Rainbow Crocs.
You have Mickey Mouse Crocs? Lucky guy. Those
are
probably like $5,000.
I don't think so. I wouldn't buy $5,000 Crocs.
You would.
I don't think I would.
Easy Crocs. You would. Not anymore,
no,
maybe, but
not anymore. Maybe back in my day.
Pokemon Crocs.
Pokemon Crocs, I would for sure buy. Yeah. But there are like Lego has been a terrific stock to buy as far as like safe investments, but like there are risks associated with owning Lego stock that I refuse to participate in. I have risk already, right? Like I'm believing in myself to grow this business. I own a lot of equity in my company that I am trusting that the regulators won't kibosh, that the government won't kibosh, that I am able to continue leading and executing properly, that the team will continue leading and executing. I understand those risks and I'm comfortable with those risks. Am I comfortable that the CEO of Lego is not going to die and then his deadbeat son is going to come in? I have know nothing about the Lego family, so I don't know what the deal would be, but like
his deadbeat son.
Just put him under the bus.
I'm selling now because I learned that
some deadbeat
David Lego is a jerk.
Yeah, some deadbeat Lego guy comes in and like ruins the company. Like there's risk there, right? Just like the long-term risk. Like I just don't think as a society we're good at thinking about long-term risk. And there are long-term risks to owning property that I am unwilling. I do not think it is unreasonable that in my lifetime, owning property will be prohibitively expensive and or illegal. Like, I don't think it's unreasonable that the government would say, you don't get to own more than your allotted square footage of land because you're rich and you're bad. And like, there's a non-zero path to us getting there right now. And I think personally that long-term risk is greater than my Bitcoin going to zero. And so what I do is I just balance, like, what else excites me? What else is good for my great-great-granddaughter to put food in her mouth in 150 years or however long it is?
Yeah.
And that's Bitcoin, without question.
Well, there you go.
In my mind.
You're a believer.
And that's
yeah. Good. I guess you are a little bit diversified because you are buying, like, Pokemon. You are buying, like, shoes.
I have a pretty wicked Pokemon collection that I would love to sell. I have been for the last 2 months.
The Logan Paul one?
Yeah.
You have a few, I guess.
Yeah, I got a couple.
You got Logan Paul on speed dial, don't you?
I wouldn't say speed dial, but him and I do communicate.
He's in your favorites.
I think he's in my favorites. I don't think I'm in his favorites, though.
He knows who you are, though. Like,
yeah, he knows who I am, yeah.
And you would just turn on the guy like that, hey?
I don't think it makes a difference to him.
Yeah, but next time you call and
I don't have his Pokemon.
Logan, what's up? I heard you sold my.
I don't think he'd care.
My Raichu.
I don't think he'd care. He might. I don't think he would.
I don't think he would either. I don't think either. But you think of that as an investment, right? So you're investing in that stuff.
Yeah. I would say that I definitely got caught up in, like, the degen mindset there for sure. Right? Pokemon's cool. Pokemon's exciting. I was learning a lot about Pokemon. It was nostalgic.
Shoes.
Same thing, right?
Yeah.
Like I bought the first, like, I have a full dead stock set of the first set of Yeezys that I've never worn.
So, stocks are down.
Well, actually, those are going to be quite valuable because they're selling the same shoe without the Yeezy mark. So I think that the Yeezy brand is tarnished right now. But
this is what I'm talking about.
What's that?
Well, this is what I'm talking about. It's like when Bitcoin is riding the wave, and you're just like, oh no, my Yeezys are great. Like, everyone right now is like, sell your Yeezys. He's terrible. And, like,
I don't know, man.
Like, whatever. What do they call that? Woke, whatever.
Cancel culture.
Cancel culture. They cancel him. And you're like, no, I'm good. It's going to be worth tons. And
like, long-term look, right? It's like
happy-go-lucky.
What?
Because he is going to make some kind of statement later, and then everyone's going to love him again. And then
that's the bet, right? That's the gamble that you make. Like, investing is just a fancy word for gambling. And there's high risk gambling and low risk gambling. And, like, it is very easy to gamble on yourself, right? You're gambling on yourself, right? I'm investing in myself. No, you're gambling in yourself, right? And you could go and get a job and make 110 grand a year, 150 grand a year, or whatever it is you wanted to make, or you were able to negotiate and make and have less risk or different risk. Right. But instead, you're gambling on yourself, and you believe that in one day you'll be able to build this thing and it'll be worth millions. And that's good. That's we should all be gambling on ourselves.
On something.
And I'm gambling. Like, I'm holding the Yeezys. Actually, if someone gave me a good price, like there's very few things that I own that are not for sale.
You don't sell a lot of stuff, do you? You like to hold.
Yeah,
that's why you need a big house.
Unfortunately, I am a little bit of a hoarder. I rarely buy things that I don't want to use.
Because you just think everything's going to go up in value?
Time. No.
Or do you hold on too long to certain things?
No, I don't think that's been the case yet.
No? It's not like, shoot, I would have sold this, whatever. But now,
no, I think like
you're definitely not going to sell your Teslas. Do you still have your first Tesla you ever bought?
No, I sold that.
You did?
Well, to get into a different one, yeah.
Oh, I thought you'd be like, hold on to this sucker because...
Actually, I've been offloading. Like, I've sold...
I thought you were going to open like a Tesla museum one day.
I did have a few, but I've probably sold like 6 cars this year. Like, just don't need them, get rid of them. Yeah. Like, gone.
Too much space.
I had a rental property that I sold. I am actively looking to sell like Pokemon cards.
Everything.
And primary residence. Like,
you're at that point where you're like, dude, I've done what I've wanted to do. And now I just want to live like simple.
Simple, and think about, like, again.
Would you sell your boring company flamethrowers?
For the right price, for sure.
How much?
I don't know what they're worth. 5 grand, 6 grand?
Is that what they're worth?
Probably around that. Am I think like 0.25 Bitcoin? Seems like a good trade for a boring company flamethrower.
Anything for Bitcoin.
That's it though. It's like, it's that long-term look, right? It's buy. We're in a weird accumulation period of Bitcoin right now, in the same way, like in the 1800s, the De Boers were in a weird diamond accumulation. The difference is it's decentralized, inclusive, anyone can do it. In 20 years, we're going to look back and be like, how was I not buying 5-10% of my income and just buying Bitcoin, accumulating Bitcoin, saving in Bitcoin?
Yeah.
I mean, clip this, right? 20 years from now, if you'd put 10% of your income in Bitcoin for the next 20 years, I promise it'll be more valuable than your entire real estate portfolio. I don't care how leveraged, it will be more, 20 years worth of 10% of your income in Bitcoin will be more valuable than your whole real estate portfolio.
Okay.
Clip it.
Okay, we got
2 decades.
We got to write down the date.
Well, it's timestamped now. It's on what do you put this on Twitter and Instagram and stuff? They'll do a good job of timestamping that.
Okay, wait. So my real estate portfolio now?
No. In 20 years.
Whatever I have in 20 years?
Whatever you have in 20 years.
If I put that into Bitcoin.
10% of your earnings. If you started today and said, my business makes $1,000 a month, I'm going to put $100 a month into Bitcoin.
I get what you're saying.
And then you do that.
So I got to do both now, and then in 20 years we have to go, hey, look, my real estate's worth this, and Bitcoin's worth this, and and then I go, yeah, you're right, and then that's it.
Just do the one that you're already doing. Like, I don't think you're buying Bitcoin religiously every month. Maybe you are, but if you're not, you should start. But if you don't want to start, then in 10 years it'll be easy to backtrack. Like, we'll be able to see.
I'm doing what a lot of people are doing. And it's like, I think it's a good time to buy, and then you buy, and then
timing the market is so stupid. It's
I want to buy this, so I should sell.
Such a gambler's mindset. It's so, we have to save. We have to get into a savings mindset. We have to be buying Bitcoin in small amounts frequently in order for your savings to have any kind of value in the future.
Yeah. Well, and that goes for anything.
Anything,
that goes
everything.
For real estate too.
Sure.
And it's not just like, I think the market's going to crash. Well, it hasn't.
Right. Yeah.
In Edmonton. Yet it may or may not. It might go up.
Might go down.
But some people are calling.
Might go sideways. But no, actually,
Nick, buy my house for cash. I need to get out. Why? Because it's going to crash. Has it crashed?
Real estate has gotten, over the next 3 years, it will decline by 15%.
It will.
Though it will, because the property taxes are going up 5% a year. So, like, already there's an added cost to owning that real estate. So either...
Right, but you have to, again, you have to add in, like, is Edmonton property values also going to go up? Are we going to get more renters? Are we going to get more buyers?
Sure, there's market components.
And are those renters going to be paying more money for rent?
So all those are will
they're
there
factors. Yeah,
they're factors. There is a guaranteed 15% tax coming your way over the next 3 years.
Right, 5% a year for the next 3 years,
and then 4.2% after that. So, like, over the next 4 years,
so we can get our bike lanes. That's as far, right?
Yeah. Well, bike lanes and probably some other stuff.
Invest in bikes.
No, don't do that. I think electric bikes.
Okay, we've talked for an hour and almost 45 minutes. This is it flies by, doesn't it?
It's fun. Okay,
so last question, and we'll leave it at this. Actually, I'll keep the question for the very end. Where can people find you? Tell us your where you want people to turn if they want to
go to my Twitter.
Deal
Adam Obrien _. Unfortunately.
Not Bitcoin well?
Well, yeah,
go direct to the source?
Yeah, come to me. I'm like, I'm a lot more fun to follow than the company. The company's good to follow, but I'm a lot more active. Actually, the company's really good. We have a really good Twitter with the company. But yeah, come to me, Adam Obrien _, and you'll hear all my crazy thoughts. You'll hear about the company. You'll hear about my...
But people want to buy or sell Bitcoin, they should go to...
If you want to buy or sell Bitcoin, you go to bitcoinwell.com. You can buy online instantly, which is great with e-transfer Visa debit. You can buy at an ATM instantly if you want to go to an ATM, or take our Bitcoin for Beginners class, and you can learn all about Bitcoin for free.
Or you can actually invest and buy stock in Bitcoin Well.
Not at bitcoinwell.com, though. You got to go to your brokerage platform to do that.
Well, there you go.
But yeah, you go buy BTCW stock on Twitter or on your brokerage platform. You can follow it on Twitter.
Okay, final question. Ready?
I think so.
We should clip this. So COVID hits. We see a drastic drop in prices. Actually, let's go back to whatever it was, 2018. I start hanging with Adam. He's coming checking out our rental properties, and Bitcoin's at like, I don't know, $1,000 or 1,500, something like that. And then every day I hang out with Adam, he's like, hey, it's at like $2,000. Hey, it's at like $3,000. Hey, it's at like $4,000. And then it just skyrocketed until like $25,000 or something like that. I'm talking Canadian dollars. Then it dropped. Then it was going up and down for a little bit. Then there was kind of like this 3-year pause or something. Something like that.
Yeah.
And then starts to pick up some momentum. Then COVID happens, tanks to $5,000 or something like that. Then explodes to $88,000 or something like that. And then now, we're down that 22, something like that. So when's the next explosion? What are you predicting the next explosion in Bitcoin is?
Probably 2025.
Why?
Just based on historics, what we've seen. We saw an all-time high in 2013, 2017, 2021, 2025. Feels like the right answer. There's a 4-year mining cycle that exists. There's some controversy or debate inside the Bitcoin community whether or not that matters. But the mining cycle, to keep it short, basically dictates how much Bitcoin will come into circulation over a set period of time. And every 4 years, the amount of Bitcoin that comes into circulation gets cut in half. And so supply and demand economics states that when something becomes more scarce, it becomes more valuable by the factor that it became more scarce. And so theoretically, gets cut in half. Bitcoin should double every 4 years. Historically, it's done better than that. And so will that continue? I don't know. There's lots more involved now, right? There's still markets that exist there.
I think your camera just shut off.
It's possible it died.
Maybe. Is mine still going?
Yours is good.
Okay, so 2025 is kind of where we're going to see an explosion. So get prepared for that.
2025. Yeah. Buy as much Bitcoin as you can before then, and I'll be right or wrong. Either way, you'll be happy you have Bitcoin.
We'll clip it, as you say. Okay, so my name's Nick Pentelechuk with Cleancut Real Estate. Thanks for watching. Adam Obrien, thank you for coming in from Bitcoin Well. Really appreciate it. I know you are a true believer and passionate about Bitcoin. So if you have questions, comments, concerns, whatever about Bitcoin, go check out Adam and his stuff. I'm in real estate investing, and I firmly believe in real estate investing. So if you have questions about real estate investing, come chat with me. Have a good day. See you on the next one. And thank you, Adam.
Peace.